All right, and we are back to the channel where we talk about everything US news, headlines, and we talk about everything in between regarding what's going up, what's going down, what's getting blockaded, what's getting turned off, turned on, and we try to make it fun and interesting. So, again, my name is James. Welcome back to the channel. Again, I'm from the US. I'm actually from the Midwest where there wasn't a lot going on, but except for farming and sports. And I wasn't really good at either of those, but I did have an affinity for the numbers, and that took me into engineering. And engineering got my curiosity into charts and data and analysis and information. So that's how I ended up with a curiosity about the markets. And yeah, so let me know. Again, for example, we're going to take down, we're going to go into some of the news, the headlines, and then we'll also go to Trading View to look at some of the chart patterns, indicators, also a little bit about the earnings and revenues and profits. Now, to get started with here, yeah, it's about, what is it, 6:27 a.m. Eastern Daylight Times, April 13th. If you took your eyes off the screens this weekend, you'd have to pull back to get a reality right now. The peace trade is dead. And I'm going to tell you, there are three things right now. First, three things right now. First, the US and Iran held 21 hours of talks in Islamabad, but they failed to reach an agreement. That's 21 hours and nothing happened except arguments. So Vice President Vance stated personally, Iran chose not to accept our terms, and the Iranian side claimed the US was demanding way too much. Control over the Strait of Hormuz and uranium enrichment rights were the true sticking points, okay? So if you're curious how the negotiations went, it wasn't good. And also, Mr. T stated that the U.S. forces are loading up on new weapons, preparing to take action in the absence of a deal. And Netanyahu declared that Israel is still, they still have a mission to complete, okay? Well, this isn't just saber rattling, it's more like a state of genuine military readiness. Yes. Villain, greetings. I love that name. Welcome to the channel. Let's see. Do you have something in mind? Do you have a question? Yes, Baymax, good question. And actually, we're going to talk about NVIDIA later on. If you want that personalized information, send me a TikTok message, and I'll get back to you on that. That's a very individual message. It's not something that's not a 2-minute question, okay? I'll give you some analysis. Send me a message, and I'll get back to you, Baymax, for some analysis, okay? Villain, let me know what you're into as well, okay? There we go. Here we go. Cleo Quinn, hello, greetings. So, and also last night, the Israeli Prime Minister publicly announced that they had successfully destroyed Iran's nuclear and missile programs. Yet the very same sentence, he added that military operations are not yet over. This sounds like a victory declaration, but have you ever met someone who, after winning a battle, claims that their mission isn't finished? Interesting, right? Let's see, Baymax, yes, send me a message and we'll talk about that. Nice, it came in this. Good, yeah. Enjoy the show. I hope you like the program. I hope you enjoy the news. And then I'll return your message after the show, and we can talk more about your questions regarding NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to be on the program later. I'll be talking about them, and I'll also talk a little bit about Microsoft as well if you want them. But yeah, send me a message. I'll get back to you with more information. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Also, looking right here, Dow. Give me the Dow right here. Okay, Dow futures opened at 6 p.m. last night and are already showing some clear signs of decline. And today we are going to clarify a few things. What happened, how the market will price it in, and where you should be focusing some of your attention next, okay? So if you're watching and you're wondering what to do, we will have some of that coming up later on. There we go. And thank you very much for the likes. Yes, if you are enjoying some of this, It does help the likes and the shares and the comments, etc. Thank you very much. Let's see. Sorry, I missed your comment over here. Yes, Elias EXP. We're going to be going into Palantir later on in the program as well. Yes. Oh, for your question, that's a very more personalized question indeed, not just a general question. Send me a message, Elias, and I'll get back to you more with some personalized information about Palantir as well. Okay, just send me a TikTok. I'll get back to you after the stream. All right. There we go. And dun, dun, dun. Hold on, I'm missing some messages here. Anyway, investing is fun. I just did. Oh, Baymax, good for you. I'm glad you're having fun investing. I'm glad it's going good for you. Yes, good stuff. All right. Got it. Elias, yes, I'll check it out. Palantir is part of this stream. We'll look it out, and then I'll get back to your message after the stream. Okay. If you are running any losses, there we go. All right. So we're going to talk about three things: what happened, how the market will price it in, and where you should be where you should be focusing your attention next. All right. So, for example, there is a certain in-depth analysis that I won't be able to fully unpack during the live stream, such as my projected trajectory of oil prices in the event of a complete blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. We've heard about that, as well as my sector-by-sector and stock-by-stock trend forecasts. So my assistants have completely compiled a version that's ready. You can contact them to receive the specific trading strategies if you want. So let's get started. Greetings, Nadia. I'm not so good with French. I've forgotten a lot of it, but welcome. Yes. So, what's the true meaning of the collapse talks? Not a pause, but a signal. So many people might still be thinking, so the talks failed, just schedule another meeting. But this time I think it's different. Yes, there we go. The U.S. dispatched Vance, Kushner, and Witkoff. Iran sent its foreign minister and parliament speaker, and this represents the highest possible level of face-to-face negotiation. And they talked for 21 hours, and the talks just... This wasn't a matter of needing technical adjustments. No, this was basically a fundamental clash of irreconcilable positions, okay? And so what does Iran want? Well, through all of this, the control of the Strait of Hormuz and the right to uranium enrichment. These are the areas where the U.S. cannot interfere. So what does the U.S. want? Well, the U.S. wants Iran to abandon. Let's see, Jason, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I enjoyed that. And thank you for the likes and the follows. Very good. Glad you're enjoying the channel, everyone. The U.S. wants Iran to abandon the path to nuclear weaponry and keep the Strait of Hormuz open to global traffic and submit to comprehensive inspections. There is no middle ground between these two frameworks. Yeah. So what do I think? Well, I think a lot of things, but one of the things I think is the breakdown of negotiations at the table signals that the weight of military option is actually increasing. So Mr. T speaks of loading up on new weapons, while Mr. Netanyahu declares there are still missions to be completed. And these are not diplomatic niceties, they are actually operational directives, yes. Let's see. Vitya, greetings, enjoy the show. So one of my questions to all of you is, do you believe that U.S. and Israel will launch a military strike against Iran within the next 2 weeks? Give me a 1 if you think they will, give me a 2 if you think they won't. And if it's a more complex answer, send me a message. Glock 2700, yeah, these are my blue light glasses. They are blocking the blue light. So Glock 2700, I like that name. Yeah, these are actually just for the blue light, yeah. So they're not sunglasses, they're not glasses to try to make me look cool. They're just for the purpose of keeping the eye strain, the headaches down from all the blue light. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. So yeah. Let me know what you think. Will there be a military strike against Iran within the next 2 weeks? Yes or no? Now let's also talk about, we have to talk about oil. God. Oil prices. The Strait of Hormuz is the real Mr. T card. Brent crude closed last week at $95.25 per barrel, having fallen from its year-to-date high of $119.45. Right now, let's see, what is Brent crude? Brent crude right now is at $102.45. West Texas Intermediate is at $104.44. Got it. Oh, Glock, yes. Oh, so you know about these. Yeah, okay, great. Glad you already know about them. Yeah. They actually depends on which ones, but they actually do work quite a bit. And it depends how yellow or unyellow they are. I was a gravy. Oh, cool. If you were a gravy seal, welcome to the show then. Glad you're enjoying this. And I always try to keep it politically neutral. But thank you for the comments, Glock 2700. Yeah, and I thank you for the likes too. Hope you're enjoying it. Yes, and for those of you that have specific questions, for example, just send me a message. Just send me a message, okay? Yeah. The decline was driven by the illusion of a 2-week ceasefire. I say illusion because it wasn't much of a ceasefire. And now the validity of that ceasefire agreement is being called into serious question. Yeah. Brent right now is at $102.38. Let's see. Yeah. And why did this happen? It happened because the Strait of Hormuz remains, for all intensive purposes, closed. Yeah, isn't that great? So Iran is levying tolls and dictating which oil tankers are permitted to pass, even with the existence of a so-called ceasefire agreement. This fundamental issue really remains totally unsolved. So it's gonna get interesting. And Mr. T has just personally torn up the very last shred of hope for peace via social media. Dun dun dun. Depa N4Z. Hello, greetings, welcome to the show. Great. I hope where in let's see, you said you're from Indonesia. Let me know where. It's always good to have you on, and I hope you're enjoying this. So what's Mr. T done? He's announced a dual blockade, okay? And again, I can't get to all these messages, but if you have a specific one, just send me a message and I'll get back to you. Send me a message on my homepage. I'll get back to you after the show, okay? Very good. This dual blockade intends not to only blockade Iran's ports, but also to intercept any oil tankers that have paid tolls to Iran. He describes this as clearing out piracy. Yeah. So, what does that really imply? Well, basically implies that if you are a ship owner, if you pay Iran, the US military will seize your vessel. If you refuse to pay Iran, Iran will attack your vessel. The Strait of Hormuz has now transformed into a crazy, and probably deadly black hole. So get ready. We live in interesting times, and it's going to get more and more interesting, more than likely. Yes. Dun, dun, dun. So, current oil prices have not yet factored in the expectations of active interception by U.S. forces. So if you ask me for my insights for Monday, well, buckle up. Yes, indeed. Energy stocks and physical gold are about to experience an epic surge in premiums. Data from the poly market indicates that traders believe the probability of West Texas Intermediate crude jumping above $105 per barrel this month is on the rise. Yeah. So, current oil prices do not fully price in a scenario where the Strait of Hormuz is completely cut off. Not yet. That's gonna come. Yeah. Da, da, da. Here we go. Give me your thoughts. What do you think the oil price will be later this month? I'm curious to know your thoughts about that. If we actually reach that point, the price won't be $115 or $120, but my God, it's gonna get. And this is because approximately 20 million barrels of crude oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz daily. A 1 week cutoff would deplete global inventories. A 1 month cutoff would cause the price discovery mechanism to break down entirely. Yeah, let me know. Do you think it's gonna? Do you think West Texas Intermediate is gonna be above $105 before the end of April? Yes or no? Let me know. And let's talk about gold as well. If you're a gold bug, let me know. Say, hey, I'm a gold bug. I've been a gold and silver bug for many years now, so I'm also watching this too. So the pressure is building on gold because gold closed the previous trading session near 4,749, having oscillated with a narrow range of 4,700 to 4,800 throughout the entire week. But from a technical perspective, 4,800, this seems it seems to serve as a resistance level, while the 4,700 basically acts as the support. Gold markets remain closed for the weekend on April 11th and 12th, but I think gold really serves as the most honest barometer of risk aversion. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, Alan, that's a good question. Again, that specific, I won't answer during the stream. Send me a message and I'll get that specific message afterwards, okay? Just send me a TikTok message, Alan, I'll get back to you, okay? Let's see, wow. I can't get back to all of these right now. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's very well noted, Ellen, and I'll send you a message afterwards, okay? Hogs, howdy to you too as well, and thank you. Yeah, these are my blue light blockers. They help with the blue light from all the screens. So they're not, sunglasses, not anything to make me look cool. Hog help with my eye strain and the headaches from the blue light. Yeah. So yeah. So some of the gold stocks may experience technical rebounds and futures markets may see sentiment-driven corrections, but gold's price reflects nothing but the equilibrium between fear and liquidity. Yes. So central banks are still buying, and ANZ forecasts that central bank gold purchases will reach about 150 tons in 2026. That's a lot. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan have all issued price forecasts ranging between 4,000 and, get this, 6,300, okay? But the most critical factor in Monday's open will not be technical analysis. It will be what transpires between the US and Iran over the next 72 hours. If gold goes up and breaks decisively above 4,800 at Monday's open, signals that smart money is positioning itself for the worst case scenario. Now, what do you think? Do you think gold will go up or gold will go down on Monday? What are your thoughts? Now, looking here, let's talk about a bigger market, the broader market. All right. The Dow Jones Futures opened tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, and early signals point to a distinct decline. There is a crucial distinction to be made here, though. The U.S. equities actually rose last week, and the S&P recorded its strongest gain since November. And why? Why do they have such a rally? Basically because the ceasefire agreement was first announced. The market traded the ceasefire as if it were, as if it were peace. Yes. But in fact, it really wasn't. Yeah. And now negotiations have collapsed, and the ceasefire agreement is effectively dead, and the risk premium on oil prices is once again going straight up. Yeah. So, what do I think? The sentiment on Monday's open is unlikely to be one of panic selling. Well, the sort of reaction typically occurs In the immediate aftermath of news breaking, what is more likely to happen on Monday is basically something like a slight downturn at the open, followed by divergence and capital flows. Some investors will capitulate and exit the market, while others will be seeking safe havens within some of the defensive sectors. What about you? What's your current position? Current position for cash, is it 0 to 20%, 20 to 40%, or over 40%? Give me a 1 for 0 to 20%, 2 if you're in cash at 20 to 40%, or if you're in cash for over 40%, give me a 3. Yeah. And again, some of you in the comments, I've seen some of the comments, you're asking very specific questions on what to do about certain positions. Yes. What should I do in energy, tech, gold, stocks on Monday? I can't answer these types of questions directly during a public live stream because everyone's position about size, cost basis, risk tolerance, etc. are all very unique. So instead, just reach out directly to my assistant, provide him with your stock tickers and a rough overview of your position details, and he will compile all the information and forward it on to me. I'll then provide you with a personalized assessment via a private message. That's why I say, send me a message. Yeah. Let's continue. Let's see. Jay Boudreau, send me 2. Got it. And got your message. I appreciate that. Very interesting. Send me a message and let me know kind of what you're looking at right now and kind of what you're planning to do. I'd just be curious to know if you want. Now, some of my overall observations on Monday's open, once the market officially opens on Monday, I'll be keeping a close eye on some of these things, okay? The opening value of the VIX. If the VIX goes up directly above 35, it signals that the institutional investors are actively establishing hedge positions. This isn't panic, it is a calculated defensive maneuver. The magnitude of the opening in gold prices, if it opens directly above 4,850, that rather suggests that the pricing of the Middle East risk premium is converging toward a worst case scenario outcome. Yeah. The divergence between the energy and technology sectors, if energy stocks rally by more than 3%, while tech stocks fall by more than 2%, this constitutes a textbook example of geopolitical rotation. Capital is being withdrawn from high valuation growth stocks and reallocated into tangible assets and safe haven assets. So that's a bit of my pre-market outlook for today. And again, here are some things you can do right now. Hit that notification button, that's the first thing. And I may host a short impromptu live stream tonight around 6 p.m. to provide some immediate analysis of pre-market signals. And right after futures trading opens, if you don't have the notifications, you won't know. And also, my assistant's contact details can be found below, okay? Find him and add him as a contact, and my assistant will then add you to my exclusive analysis community. And tonight, once the futures markets open, I will post a hand-drawn chart in the group, a projection of potential oil price trajectories under the Strait of Hormuz blockade. So the members of the community will get to see this before it's shared during the public stream. And third, if you would like to receive all the key data points I mentioned today, including the complete timeline of the breakdown in the US-Iran negotiations, a real-time tracking sheet for oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, and my projected price levels for various sectors and individual stocks on Monday markets open, simply contact my assistant directly, just contact directly and request them. I'll send them all to you free of charge. All you need to do is let him know that you're reaching out because you watched this stream. All right. Extreme volatility triggered by geopolitical events serves as a crucible. It's a redistribution of wealth. Do not recklessly apply leverage before you have seen a clear confirmation signal. And certainly, do not blindly give in to greed while others are gripped by fear, unless you have truly discerned the underlying direction of the capital flows. So, the weekend is not the time for rest. It's rather the time for astute positions, okay? All right, let's get moving, okay? Any questions, send me a message and let's go. We were talking here a little bit about some of the news and the headlines. Well, one of them, we got questions about NVIDIA, we got questions about Tesla. I've already seen. One of the things that we'll look at here is Tesla first. Yeah, Tesla is mired in an 8-week losing streak, and the stock dropped actually down 3.2% for the week, and then 22.4% for the year. Let's take a look right here. We'll update. TSLA. For those of you asking me about Tesla, here's your answer right here. 348.95. Pre-market's already down to 346.18. And remember, this is the stock that JP Morgan predicted a possible 60% collapse. Yeah. And as you can see right here, here's your RSI down here at, level 36. Again, if you're new, this might be helpful, but if you're more advanced, this might be boring. I'm sorry if it is. But if you're new, this is for you. The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, right here, this is your 70 line. That's your overbought line. And down here, this is your 30 line. That's your oversold line. Basically, what that means is it's just a guide. It can go way overbought or way oversold before they finally market correct or market rebound. But these are some of the guides that say, hey, it's getting pretty high or it's getting pretty low. And one of the market guides for neutral is right here in the middle at around 45 and 55 in there. You'll see some patterns, some chart patterns that reflect that up here in the price chart. I can share you with those as well. Another one, just to briefly introduce you, the moving average convergence divergence, the otherwise known as the MACD. This is, for example, what are we looking at right here? When the blue MACD line crosses the signal line going down, basically you're going to have a downward chart pattern, and when it crosses going up, like you see right there, you're going to have a upward chart pattern. Now, again, that's a super simplified version, a super simplified explanation, I should say. It is way more complicated than that, but just to introduce you to it, that's what it is. If you have more questions about those indicators, or also if you have questions about the chart patterns, just send me a message and I'll get back to you after the stream. But I just wanted to share that with you right now to start out with. Again, looking right here at Tesla, I've got a lot of questions about that. Prediction. Yeah. Also remember that Tesla and XAI are all involved in that SpaceX IPO coming up. And right now, the volume, let me zoom in on this right here. Yeah, we've seen a lot of trade volume on Tesla recently. Volume right now is at 51.34 million and market cap is at 1.31 trillion. There you go. And if you can also, this was on Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Friday, it did rebound just a little bit, as you can see right here. Thursday and Friday, but yeah, it's already down in pre-market trading by basically a point and a half, 2 points. Yes. Yeah, and there's that. Let me give you a couple of quick patterns here. Here's one. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. There's your neckline breakout. Again, many of you are already familiar with these. If you're brand new, welcome. Josh, greetings. Yes, welcome. This is we're doing Tesla. And let's see, what's another? Oh, I've also got some questions about Palantir. So right after this, Josh, I'll do Palantir. And now that you're here, I'm thinking about you as well. So Palantir, this is Tesla. Let me know if there's anything else that's on your list that I can fit in, okay? And also, if you're looking at More chart patterns right here. Here's another one. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. There's your neckline breakout. Bang. That's for. Looks great. Oh yes, NVIDIA is another one that we're going to look at. So NVIDIA and Palantir. That was another question. Someone already asked me about NVIDIA. Okay, let's take a look at them quickly. Here is NVIDIA right here. NVIDIA. All right, dun, dun, dun. Oh, goodness gracious. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. For those of you asking about NVIDIA, this is for you. Here's some brief information for you very quickly before I move on to the next one right here. Yes. Here we go. All right. RSI right now for NVIDIA is right here at 60. Okay. And again, that's not overbought, but it's climbing up. It was NVIDIA was down at 33. That was on Monday, and now it's already climbed up to 60 on the RSI. And right now you can see that reflected in the MACD right there. And let me here we go. NVIDIA right now 188.63, and pre-market though it did correct a little bit at 186.51. Dun dun dun. And here we go. Got it. Yes. Yeah. And again, for example, right here, if we're looking at trade volume, volume right now is 160.46 million. And also a little bit of a news update here on TradingView. It says traders also worry about geopolitical risk. Iran conflict in Strait of Hormuz closure. It could disrupt NVIDIA's chip supply and raise energy costs for Asian fabrication plants, potentially hitting production and shipments. So bear that all in mind with NVIDIA. Yeah. There you go. Good. Now, let's see what this on on Friday though. On Friday it did rebound. Yeah, there's that. Now let's see. There's NVIDIA. Now let's go back to I had a couple quick questions about NVIDIA, and another one I think was Palantir. Palantir, just to run through it quickly. If you have more specific questions about NVIDIA or Tesla or anything that I'm going through, just feel free to reach out and message me. I'm going through these quickly. But here's one of Palantir right here. Gosh, it's dropping. Okay, RSI went from on Tuesday it was at 48. Now the RSI is sitting down here at 34. Again, getting pretty close to oversold, and also you can see that reflected in the MACD. Look at this trading volume though. Look at this. Wow, it jumped up right there. It's some nice trading volume there. Actually, the trade volume is at 116.6 million. And let's see. Here we go. But let's see. It actually, it did just rise pre-market. It was at 128, and then at pre-market it rose to 130.3. So bear that in mind. It what was it? Thursday and Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It did see some big drops. Yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's Palantir. Right now, again, I'll repeat that. 128, and then now at pre-market, it's at 130. And 12 minutes ago, again, a TradingView update. Palantir stock rises. Kathy Wood and Mr. T give the AI defense play a boost. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there's that. Okay, if you want more information on Palantir, just reach out and ask directly. James Garrett, yes, got you on that. Yes, yeah. Let me know, James. Send me a message and let me know your specific play on NVIDIA. I'd be curious to hear that. Okay. And also, another one we're going to take a look at. Oh, yeah, it's TSM. I have that in my notes here. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. It's all intertwined, interlinked. Here, why are we looking at TSM? Because where's my for example here, TSM is likely to book fourth straight quarter of record profit on insatiable AI demand. Again, if you're looking at Taiwan Semiconductor, it's the world's largest manufacturer of advanced artificial AI chips, and it's likely a notch up a fourth quarter of record earnings with a 50% surge in net profit for January through March, thanks to the booming AI infrastructure. Yeah, and again, for everybody giving the comments and the likes and the shares, I really appreciate that, and thanks for the follows also. That's nice. And okay, a little bit more right here. Let's see. Yeah, let's look here at TSM. Yeah, that's driven Asia's most valuable company, a key supplier. Again, why am I talking about TSMC? Also because it's a key supplier for NVIDIA and Apple, and its market capitalization is now nearly double that of the South Korean rival Samsung Electrics at around 1.6 trillion. Yeah. So again, you don't have NVIDIA or Apple without TSM. They're all together in this. So yeah, taking a look right here at TSM, yeah, so they were at 370.6, and pre-market it's at 368, and right now, as you can see, again, the RSI, bang, it just jumps right up here to 61, and yeah, you can see that reflected in the MACD, and right here, you can see some of their volume action, trading volume. Right now, the volume is at 13.17 million. Yeah, and market cap is at 1.63 trillion. And if you're curious, let me know. If you're curious to see some of these chart patterns, how they work out, here's a couple just for you. Here's your double bottom. Here's your double bottom neckline going up right there. And then, let's see, let me give you one or two more before I move on. Here we go. I know some of these are very basic for some of you, but yeah, if you want more of those patterns or any more, just put it in a message and I'll get back. Let's keep going. There's TSM, and also right here, we talked about gold already. Let's look at this. Let's see what some of the, for example, here is, where's my gold? Right here. Here is gold at 4726. Let me see how some of the gold stocks are doing right here. Here we go. Let's do Freeport McMoran. I just want to see how a couple of these gold stocks are doing. If you're a gold or silver bug, let me know also. Again, Freeport McMoran, they are rebounding, even though at the moment gold is holding steady. Yeah. So, but it was at 67.80 pre-market. It went down to 66.9. There's that. And yeah, let me zoom in here. You can see the volume is not as big as it could be. Volume is at 15.7 million. Let's go to another one just to show you. That's Freeport McMoran. And got it. And let's see. Puma, greetings and welcome. Let's see. Good question. Inverted lies. I like that. Yeah, gold. Yeah, we just talked about gold. And we just talked about some of the oil and different things. We also just talked about Tesla, NVIDIA as well. Inverted lies. Send me a message and I'll get you a good direct answer about that. That's not just a 1 minute question, okay? But good question. Might be a good day. Yes, it's gonna be a great day. Okay, Puma, let me know if you have a specific question. I'm not sure. Let's see. For example, yes, JK, good question. Again, that's something I would do outside of the live stream. Right now, I've already got many things planned for live stream. If you want, you can send me a message and I can give you an analysis. Let's go with that, okay? All right. Here's a couple. Another one I was going to look at is, what's that? Rio Tinto, just to see what Rio Tinto is doing right now. And here we go. Yeah, Rio Tinto. Again, if you're into the miners, this one is basically, yeah, it's still rebounding, even though it had a slight correction right here. Let's also go to, what was another one I was going to look up? Oh, yeah, Newmont, that's another one. just to see how it's doing right here. Let's see. Puma, I got you on your note. I got you. Let me look right here. Again, here's Newmont. This is another big precious metals miner. It's also still rebounding. I'm a little bit surprised about this because oil right now, we just went through this, but West Texas Intermediate, 103.95 right now. Again, it's jumping up because of all the news updates about what's going on in Iran. Brent crude right now is at 102.1. Again, all these are up at the moment. Let's go right over here. Yeah, that's Newmont. Now let's, here's one I can give you really quick. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Where's my, gosh darn. Here. Again, if you're looking at US oil right now, it's at 103.78. For example, one of the ones I was going to look at was Exxon, just to see how it's doing at the moment. Exxon, here we go. Also, if you have a particular tech stock, we just talked about Tesla, Nvidia, Palantir, and TSM. If you have one in particular, feel free to let me know. Here's Exxon. Again, even though oil just rebounded, Exxon is still actually, oil rebounded, and so is Exxon in pre-market trading. So Exxon was at 152.51. Pre-market, it's now at 155.56. Interesting. And I'm curious to see how that one goes too. Let's do another one. Let's see how Chevron is doing in pre-market. CVX right here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Chevron pre-market is also rebounding. It was at 188 pre-market. It's already at 192. Yep, that's following suit pretty much. And let's do one more. ConocoPhillips. Yeah, ConocoPhillips also pre-market is rebounding 122 to 125 already. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. Now, another one I was going to talk about is CoreWeave. Why CoreWeave? Because where's my article in this one? Yeah, CoreWeave just jumped up 11% on the news that they had that deal with Anthropic's Claude. Let's talk about that right here. CoreWeave announced on Friday it's entered a multi-year agreement with Anthropic to power its Claude AI models as demand for all the infrastructure continues to climb. And let's see, the new climbed 11% right here. And this deal comes one day after Meta committed to spending an additional $21 billion with the AI cloud provider. The deal adds to a prior $14.2 billion commitment announced in September. Yeah. Got it. Noted. I got your message in very live. I'll check it later, okay? Josh, yes. You're yeah. No, I got you. I share some of your same sentiment. Yes, indeed. I'm just sharing some of the headlines here. Yeah. And what was I gonna say? So let's take a look here at CoreWeave and Meta right here. Where's my CoreWeave? CoreWeave. CoreWeave. Here we go. Yeah. Don't believe all the hype. Yes, I know. That's what the headlines are good for. Is hype. Yes. Thanks, Josh. And here, okay. For example, if you're curious about the CoreWeave and Anthropic and all that, here we go. CoreWeave, in case you don't know, engages in the powers of the creation and delivery of the intelligence that drives innovation. It offers a solution used by organizations of all sizes that require sophisticated AI computing, from the largest of enterprises to small, well-funded startups. So here we go. Just a quick look at CoreWeave. And right here, interesting. Yeah, this was Friday. Yeah, they went from what was it, basically 93 right here all the way up to 102. They jumped up right there. And pre-market, they're still jumping up. Pre-market, they're at 103. And look at all this trade volume right there. You can see, maybe my big head's not in the way, maybe you can see it, but yeah, there's the notches right there. And then look at the RSI jumping up to 66 already, and you can see that in the MACD. Even as got it. Here we go. Volume right now is at 83.42 million. If you're wondering, I'm looking right there at the bottom right corner on TradingView. If you're curious what software I'm using, I get that question a lot. Yeah, right behind me, this is TradingView. This is actually, I'm sharing my screen with you. So if you're wondering what I'm looking at on my screen, my screen is actually right behind me. It's a shared screen. So people say, why don't you share your screen? I am. This is my screen. You can see it. And you can see all these little windows up here. These are my windows of some of the news headlines that I share during the live stream. So that's, you can even see my news headlines things there. But yeah, there we go. Thank you for all the likes and the shares and the follow. I do appreciate that. Hopefully this is giving you some kind of benefit. And again, there's CoreWeave. Let's take a look here at Meta as well, because I'm curious how Meta is doing after that deal also. Here we go. All right, right here. Meta. Yeah, Meta also. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, interesting. So pre-market, Meta actually corrected right here. You can see that. So it was at 629, and now it's already corrected down to 624. That's interesting. And you can see RSI went from, yeah, basically 22 all the way up to 58, and you can kind of see it curving and tapering off here already. Interesting. Yeah. So Meta said AI-powered Reels boosted U.S. watch time over 30% year over year, expanding ad inventory, and expects Reels to drive about 50 billion in ad revenue over the next 12 months. Let me repeat that again, talking briefly about Meta here. Meta said, again, bottom right here on TradingView, said AI-powered Reels boosted U.S. watch time over 30% year over year, expanding ad inventory, and expects Reels to drive about $50 billion in ad revenue over the next 12 months. 50 billion. Oh my God. Yeah, right now the trading volume is at 13.29. Again, another one that we'll talk about is a day after. Wow. So right here, the deal, yeah, right here. So here we go. Again, the deal comes one day after Meta committed to spending additional 21 billion. Right here, CoreWeave and Anthropic. Again, that's that. Now let's take another look here at also, just to show you. Here's another one that's going on in the tech space right here. IBM to pay 17 million to settle the U.S. government probe over diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI). In case any of you are out there interested in IBM, right there. Let's take a look right here at IBM, since we're right now. IBM, and right here, yeah. If you're curious about IBM, they're not having the best of days at the moment. Yeah, 17 million to resolve DEI, and right now they're sitting there at they were at 230.76 pre-market. They're at 230.84, but yeah, the last few days they've also been dropping as well. Just if you're curious about anything else, just send me a message. Let's see, let me go back here. Got it. And just a little update here. Talking about April 13th pre-market, the US and Iran talks collapsed, and weapons are being armed, and what's going to happen on Monday. Some of you have been asking me, so I will give you some of my thoughts. If you took your eyes off the screens this weekend, you'd have to pull you back to reality for sure, because any peace trade is dead. And I'll tell you three things right now. First, US and Iran held 21 hours Okay, U.S. and Iran had 21 hours of peace talks in Islamabad, and they failed to do anything, to reach anything. Yeah. Vice President Vance stated personally, Iran chose not to accept our terms. And the Iranian side claimed that the U.S. was demanding too much. Yeah, so much for, talks and deals. So the control over the Strait of Hormuz and uranium enrichment rights were the true sticking points, if you're curious about that. So, and Mr. T stated that the U.S. forces are loading up new weapons, preparing to take action in the absence of a new deal. Doesn't that sound great? And let's see, Takum, yes, thank you. Fancy glasses. Now, these are actually blue light blocking glasses. They're not for show, they're not for sunglasses. The orange tint actually blocks the blue light from the screen. So they help with my eye soreness, they help with any headaches. So yeah, they help keep you calm and happy. But yeah, thank you very much for the comment. Now, also, the same side, Netanyahu declared that Israel still has a mission to complete. So this isn't really saber rattling, it's a state of genuine military readiness. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So, last night, Israeli Prime Minister publicly announced that, hey, they had successfully destroyed Iran's nuclear and missile programs. And yet, the very same sentence, he added that military operations are not yet over. So, this sounds like victory declaration. But have you ever met someone who, after winning a battle, said their mission isn't finished? Yeah. Dun dun dun. Here we go. Yeah. So, the Dow futures. Yeah. Today we're going to clarify. Yeah, they're already showing signs of decline. Yeah. And we're going to clarify three things: what happened, how the market's going to price it in, and where you should be focusing your attention next. So that's all coming up. There's a certain in-depth analysis that I won't be really able to fully unpack during this live stream. So my projected trajectory for oil prices, and in the event of a complete blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, as well as my sector by sector and stock by stock trend forecast. My assistants have all compiled this, put it together into a version ready. You can contact them and receive the specific trading strategies if you want. Just request that, reach out and ask them for it, okay? So, the true meaning of the collapse, not a pause, but a signal. And many people still think, oh, the talks failed, right? No, it's just another meeting, but this time it is different. Yes. The U.S. dispatched Vance, Kushner, and Witkoff. Iran sent its foreign minister and parliament speaker. This represents the highest possible level of face-to-face negotiation. And yeah, they talked for 21 hours and the talks collapsed. This wasn't really a matter of needing technical adjustments. It was a fundamental clash of irreconcilable positions. Dun, 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 dun. So, what does Iran want? Dun, dun, dun. The control of the Strait of Hormuz and the right of uranium enrichment. And these are areas where the U.S. cannot interfere. And what does the U.S. want? Oh, God. The U.S. wants Iran to abandon the path to nuclear weaponry and keep the Strait of Hormuz open to global traffic and submit to comprehensive inspections. And there's no middle ground between these two frameworks. None. So, well, the breakdown of negotiations at the table signals that the weight of military option is increasing. And Mr. T speaks of loading up on new weapons, while Mr. Netanyahu declares, there are still missions to be completed, and these are not diplomatic niceties. No, they are operational directives. So, it's going to be interesting. Let me know. Do you think the US and Israel will launch a military strike against Iran within the next 2 weeks? Let me know. Give me a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. What do you think about that? And dun, 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 let's talk about some oil here. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, Puma. Yeah, it's all live. There's one here on YouTube, and the other is also on TikTok. Yeah, good question. So, talking about oil, the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, Brent crude closed last week at $94.25 a barrel, having fallen from its year-to-date high of $119.45. However, that decline was driven by the illusion of a 2-week ceasefire agreement. Yes, we all know how that went. So the validity of that ceasefire agreement is being called into serious question. Oh boy. Now, why did this happen? Because the Strait of Hormuz remains, for all intensive purposes, closed. And Iran is levying tolls and dictating which oil tankers are permitted to even pass, even with the existence of a so-called ceasefire agreement. This fundamental issue remains completely unresolved. So, yes, it's going to be interesting. Mr. T has just personally torn up the very last shred of hope for peace via social media. Yeah, it's, oh gosh. He's announced a dual blockade. Well, what is this dual blockade? Well, he intends not only to blockade Iran's ports, but also to intercept. Let's intercept any oil tankers that have paid tolls to Iran. He describes this action as clearing out privacy. Yeah, clearing out privacy. So what does this really imply? Well, it really implies that if you are a ship owner, if you pay Iran, the US military will seize your vessel. And if you refuse to pay Iran, Iran will attack your vessel. The Strait of Hormuz is now transformed into a deadly black hole. Isn't this interesting? It's gonna be interesting times for sure. So, current oil prices have not completely factored in the expectation of active interception by US forces. So, yeah. What's going to happen on Monday? Well, it's going to be interesting. Energy stocks and physical gold are about to experience an epic surge in premiums. Let's see. Sonic, yes. Gas is going up. Indeed, indeed. Good comment. Fill up today because it's going to go up. Orton, hello, hello. Greetings and welcome. Yes. If you have specific questions while I'm going through some of the highlights here, just send me a message and I'll get back to you after the stream, okay? Yes. Got it. All right. Here we go. So, data from the poly market indicates that traders believe the probability of West Texas Intermediate crude jumping above $105 per barrel this month is on the rise. Definitely. My insights, basically, oil prices do not fully price in a scenario where the Strait of Hormuz is completely cut off. Yeah, just wait. It's going to be interesting. If we actually reach that point where it's completely cut off, the price won't be $115. No, it won't be $120 either. It's gonna be significantly higher. And this is because approximately 20 million barrels of crude oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz every single day. A 1-week cutoff could deplete global inventories. A 1-month cutoff could cause the price discovery mechanism to break down completely. So, what do you think? Will West Texas Intermediate crude break above $105 before the end of April? Give me a 1 for a yes, give me a 2 for a no. Let's see how interesting this gets. Holy moly. Yeah, Sonic, love that comment. Oh my God. Oh yeah, we hope not, right? We hope not. But yes, I share some of your sentiment, Sonic. Thanks for that. Dun dun dun. Yeah, are we going to be happy? Well, that just depends all on your position where you are, Puma. Let's see. Thank you very much, Sunny N71. Let me know what you're doing, Sunny N71. Send me a message and I'll get back to you after the stream, okay? Let me know your thoughts about West Texas Intermediate. How high is it going to go? And also, let's talk about, yeah, we had some questions about gold too. Dun, dun, dun. Gold pressure is building for sure. Gold closed the previous trading session near 4,749, having oscillated with a narrow range of 4,700 to 4,800 throughout the week. Yes. But from a technical perspective, 4,800 serves as the resistance level, while 4,700 mainly acts as the support level. And gold markets remain closed for the weekend on April 11th and 12th, but I think that gold serves as the most honest barometer of risk aversion. So if you don't like risk, gold will hold on to its value. And stocks may experience technical rebounds and futures markets may see sentiment-driven corrections, but gold's price reflects nothing but the equilibrium between fear and liquidity. Give me your thoughts on that. So central banks continue to buy, and ANZ forecasts that central bank gold purchases will reach 850 tons thereabouts in 2026. Good Lord. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan have issued price forecasts ranging between 4,000 and get this, 6,300. So how many of you are holding gold right now? Let me know. I'm curious about that. Dun, dun, dun. Interesting thoughts. Greetings, everyone. Michael White, thanks for sharing. Flams, hello, hello. Yes. So another critical factor is not the technical analysis, but it will be what transpires between the US and Iran over the next 72 hours. Again, it's going to be interesting. If gold goes up and breaks decisively above 4,800, that kind of signals that the smart money is positioning itself for a worst case scenario. And yeah, we hope not. What do you think? Is it going to go above or below 4,800? Give me a 1 for above, give me a 2 for below, give me your thoughts. Yeah. So, here's another distinction. US equities actually rose last week. The S&P 500 recorded its strongest weekly gain since November. Now, why did this happen? What's the reason for the rally? Let's see. Okay, Jack Seed. Jack Seed. Very, very good question. I like that. Very thought out. Jack Seed, send me a message. Go to my profile page, hit the message button, send me a message, and I'll get back to you after the stream with some good information on that. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, why was there the rally? It's because the ceasefire agreement, when it was first announced, the market traded the ceasefire as if it were peace. Yeah, not so much. Negotiations have completely collapsed. The ceasefire agreement is basically dead, and the risk premium on oil prices is once again going through the roof. So, I don't think there's going to be a lot of panic selling. That sort of reaction typically occurs in the immediate aftermath of news breaking. What is more likely to happen is basically a slight downturn at the open, followed by a divergence in capital flows with some investors. Some investors are going to capitulate and exit the market. They're just, yeah. While others will begin seeking safe havens within defense sectors. So what about you? What's your current cash position? 0 to 20%? Give me a 1. Cash position of 20 to 40%? Give me a 2. And cash position of over 40%? Give me a 3. Yeah. And some people, yeah, I get the comments already. Yeah, some people are already asking, you know, my energy, my tech, my gold stocks, what do I do? And I cannot really answer these very well in the live stream because there's a lot of position size, cost basis, you know, analysis and risk tolerance are all unique to everyone, etc. So instead, just reach out directly to my assistant and provide him with some of your stock tickers and a rough overview of some of your position details. And then he will compile them and forward it on to me. And then I'll provide you with the personalized assessment that you asked for in a private response. Now, again, some of the things that I'll be looking at once the market officially opens on Monday, I'll be keeping a close eye on some of these. The opening value of the VIX. If the VIX directly goes up above 35, that rather signals that investors are actively establishing hedge positions. And this isn't panic, it's a calculated defensive maneuver, okay? The magnitude of the opening gap in gold prices. If gold opens directly above 4,850, it suggests that the pricing of the Middle East risk premium is converging towards a worst case scenario outcome, okay? Now, the divergence spread between the energy and technology sectors. If energy stocks rally by more than 3%, while tech stocks fall by more than 2%, this constitutes a textbook example of a geopolitical rotation. Capital is being withdrawn from high valuation growth stocks and reallocated into tangible assets and safe haven assets. So, this basically wraps up my pre-market outlook for today. Here are some of the things that you can do right now. First, hit the notification bell. I may host a short impromptu live stream tonight around 6 p.m. to provide immediate analysis of the pre-market signals right after the futures trading opens. If you don't have the notifications enabled, you will miss it. Also, my assistant's contact details can be found below. Just find him and add him as a contact. My assistant will then add you to my exclusive analysis community. And tonight, once the futures markets open, I will post a hand-drawn chart in the group, a projection of potential oil price trajectories under a Strait of Hormuz blockade scenario, and members of the community will get to see this before it's shared in the live stream. And third, if you want to receive the key data points I mentioned today, including the complete timeline of the breakdown in the US-Iran negotiations, a real-time tracking sheet for oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, and my projected price levels for various sectors and individual stocks at Monday's market open, just simply contact my assistant directly to request them, and then I'll get back. I'll send them to you completely free. All you need to do, just tell him, hey, you saw this on the live stream, and let him know that you watched it, okay? Now, keep this in mind. Volatility that's triggered by geopolitical events serves as a crucible, a battleground for the redistribution of wealth. So don't just recklessly apply leverage before you even have a clear confirmation. And certainly don't blindly just give in to greed while others are gripped by fear. unless you have truly discerned the underlying direction that the capital is flowing. So again, it's a time to learn and go for the astute to position yourselves. And let's keep going here. Yes, again, let's see. This is everything U.S. news, U.S. headlines, and U.S. markets. Yes, greetings, everyone. Dun, dun. There we go. And what's going on? Yeah, again, send me a message. And what's the? Yes, I'll get back to you after the stream. Okay. Got it. All right, let's keep going. Dun dun dun. Got it. TD, what's your question? Sorry, I missed your. Let's see. No, why you got it. Okay, TD, what's your question? Okay, now, one of the ones I often gets questions on already. Let's go here to people asking me about Tesla. Again, a little update here about Tesla. For example, Tesla, if you heard about JP Morgan predicting that there's going to be a 60% collapse. Well, again, Tesla had its eighth straight down week, and it's down 3.2% on the week, and also down 22.4% on the year. That's just a little heads up about Tesla. And here we go. Where is it? Right here. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yeah. For example, a little update here. Let me pull this in. Tesla, 348.95 pre-market. Again, it's dropping to 346, correcting. You can also see that right here in the RSI sitting here at 36. And again, for those of you, for example, for those of you who are new, who are just tuning in, this is for you. And for those of you who have been here a while, well, I don't mean to bore you with this. Relative strength index. Okay, this is your overbought line, and here's your oversold line. Again, right there, you can see that. And again, that's just a guide. That's how to use this, a little basic idea of how to use this indicator. And there's the middle ground, basically the neutral area between around 45 and 55, thereabouts. You'll also be able to see this chart pattern up here. Basically, it's consolidation. And then that's just the basic parts of it. And again, these things can go way overbought or way oversold before they ever actually market correct or market rebound. So just bear that in mind. It's really just a guide. If you have more questions on that, let me know. I'm just introducing it. Also, right here, a super simplified explanation of the moving average convergence divergence. For example, right here, you have the blue MACD line crossing the red indicator line. When that crosses going down, you have a downward price chart right here. And when it crosses going up, right here, when it crosses going up, you have an upward price chart like right here. Again, that's super oversimplified, but that's just a basic intro. If you want more, you can always ask for more information. And again, a very easy chart pattern to see. Jumps out at you right here. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. There's many, many more. If you want to see that, and that pushes it down. If you want to see more, let me know. Just a little update here. Again, we're looking at TradingView. Quick update. Netherlands approved Tesla's full self-driving, the first regulatory okay for full self-driving in Europe. And the approval may affect the Tesla's trading strategy. Let's see, regulatory adoption, elegant fleet, software value. Yeah, that's just a little update on TradingView, bottom right. But right here again, keep in mind the real story. For example, here we go. Let's see, 348 pre-markets at, yeah, 348 pre-markets at 346. It's still correcting right here. And look at all this trade volume right here. Volume right now for Tesla's at 51.34 million. And let's also, I've had several questions about NVIDIA. Let's look at this one real quick. All right, NVIDIA, here we go. Yeah, NVIDIA, here it is, 188.63. Pre-market though, it's corrected down to 185.88. You can see that right here. Let's see, Friday, yeah, Friday it did rebound, and you can see all the trade volume. Let's see, 160.46. And also, again, some of the traders are worried about geopolitical risk, because think about it. Again, looking here at the bottom right, the Iran conflict, the Strait of Hormuz closure, it could disrupt some of the supply and raise energy costs for Asia fabrication plants, potentially hitting production and shipments. Now, again, volume-wise, it's at 160 million right now. You can see right here with this relative strength index, right now it's at 61. Remember, it wasn't just, what was it, back on, March 30th, it had reached, RSI was down at 32, and that was reflected right here. Was it, again, that was on March 30th. The price was at 164. Now it's rebounded to 188. Yeah, and that's NVIDIA. Lots of questions about that one right there. Yeah. Here we go. Let me show you a couple quick things right here. For example, you're looking for chart patterns. Here's one right here. Here's your, let me give you a double. Here's one right here. Here's your double top, basically go to the same point, and then bang, it drops down. A double top drops it down, a double bottom will push it up. We've already talked about a double bottom already. We've already talked about some head and shoulders. And again, no, this is not a shampoo commercial. People ask me that. I don't make the names of these patterns. I just show them to you. Again, and if you're wondering, my chart is on 1 day. I get asked that a lot. 1 day. Here we go, right here. Here's your double bottom. And there's your neckline breakout going up. And then let's go right over here. Right over here. Let's see. And sometimes the patterns don't actually break out. Like you can see, here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder, but there's no breakout. It doesn't go down. So just bear that in mind. And that's NVIDIA. Another one I wanted to show you was TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. Why Taiwan Semiconductor? Because right now, Taiwan Semiconductor supplies NVIDIA and Apple. So without NVIDIA and Apple, you don't have Taiwan Semiconductor, and you don't have NVIDIA without, you don't have Taiwan Semiconductor, you don't have NVIDIA or Apple, and vice versa. They're all together, they all need each other. And why are we talking about TSMC? Because it's likely to book 4th straight quarter of record profit on the insatiable AI demand. Yeah, so what was it? TSM is the world's largest manufacturer of advanced AI chips, and they will likely notch up a 4th consecutive quarter of record earnings with a 50% surge in net profit for January to March. Thanks for this booming demand. Yeah. So again, analysts say that TSM's 3 nanometer technology to produce AI chips and its advanced packaging technology continues to outstrip the firm's current production capacity. Yeah, they cannot keep up with it. So again, that's TSM. I thought we'd take a look right here. TSM, right here. All right, Taiwan Semiconductor. For those of you who may not know, I think most people do, but they engage in the manufacture and sale of integrated circuits and wafer semiconductor devices. Its chips are used in personal computers, peripheral products, and information applications and wired and wireless systems, etc. Now, looking right here, TSM. Their RSI again climbing, sitting right here at 62. It was recently at 36, and you can see that. You can see how that changed in the price chart and right here in the MACD as well. Right here, the MACD is going up the same way. Right here, TSM, it went from 367 up to, no, sorry, it went from 370. It's corrected in pre-market trading down to 367. So it went from 370 down to 367. Yes, and greetings everyone. And right now you can see, what is it right here? Volume-wise, it's at 13.17 million. Market cap is at 1.63 trillion. And yeah, that's just a little update about TSM because we're talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is also, again, we just mentioned NVIDIA. NVIDIA is also backing the S5. S5 just hit a $3.65 billion valuation for AI chips. What is S5? SI5 is a company founded in 2015 by the UC Berkeley engineers who created an open source chip design, and they've landed a $400 million round that values the company at $3.65 million. And again, S5 is being backed by NVIDIA now, just sharing that with you. So NVIDIA is backing this company, and we just talked about NVIDIA, and without NVIDIA is one of TSM's biggest customers. So again, you need TSM for NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is also backing SI5. So just sharing that with you right there. Also, what's another one that we should look at? What was the other one I was going to? Oh yeah. For example, CoreWeave. We got to talk about CoreWeave. Why? Because recently, CoreWeave stock just jumped up 11% on a deal to power Anthropic's Claude. Let's see, does you watching? Yes, Puma. I'm sorry. Is the information beneficial to you? Let me know what you're asking about. Let's see. I hope this is beneficial to you. Does you watching? What are you watching? Do you have a question? Thank you. So CoreWeave just jumped up 11%. Let me show you right here. Yeah. Has entered a multi-year agreement with Anthropic to power its Claude AI models. And so CoreWeave, let me show you right here. CoreWeave right here jumped up. Yeah, here you go. Bang. Yeah, look at this right here. This is what they're talking about. Look at this trade volume and look at this jump right there. Okay, so again, jumped 11% on the news, and CoreWeave, or it's with the addition of Anthropic, 9 of the 10 AI providers now leverage CoreWeave's platform. Again, 9 of the 10 providers now use CoreWeave's platform, reflecting the growth demand for infrastructure that AI can scale. Wow. And this deal, interestingly, this deal comes one day after Meta committed to spending an additional $21 billion with CoreWeave as well. So again, for those of you curious about the tech side, we've got CoreWeave, we've got Meta, we've got Anthropic, and all these companies are all together. And if you're wondering about the chip side of it, you've got NVIDIA backing SI5, and NVIDIA is one of the biggest customers for TSM. It's all together. Interesting how this works, right? So here's CoreWeave. For those of you who may not know about CoreWeave, dun, dun, dun. CoreWeave engages in the powers of the creation and delivery of the intelligence that drives innovation. It offers a solution used by organizations of all sizes that require sophisticated AI computing, from the largest of enterprises to the small, well-funded startups. Anyway, it's a little bit about them. And again, right here, volume-wise, they're at 83.4 million. Market cap is at 53.6 billion right there. You can see that reflected. Yeah, if you have more questions about CoreWeave, just simply reach out and ask. Again, here's another quick pattern for you. Here's your head, left, right. There's your dun, dun, dun. Neckline, it drops. Here's another double bottom. You can see that boosted right up. And if you continue this way, right here, you can see the same thing. Here's another, here's your head, left, right, neckline, bang, it drops it down. right here, same thing. Again, there's many chart patterns. If you want information on this, just reach out and ask. But yeah, there is some of that. Okay, CoreWeave was another one we were talking about. Also, CoreWeave just made a deal with Meta. I thought we'd take a look at Meta as well at the same time. Right here, Meta. Here we go, Meta. Oh, here's some information that you might be interested in. Looking here on TradingView, Meta said AI-powered Reels boosted U.S. watch time over 30% year over year, expanding ad inventory, and expects Reels to drive about $50 billion in ad revenue over the next 12 months. Yes, thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you everyone for doing that. Again, looking right here at Meta, if you're curious, they have rebounded right now. They were at 629, and pre-market they just corrected down to 622. So if that's something you're looking at, hopefully that's helpful to you. Right here, they were out. This was back at March 26. Yeah, they were recently at oversold at 21 on the RSI. Right now they're at 56, and you can see that also reflected here in the MACD. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, look at these chart patterns. Lots of head and shoulders in Meta as well. All right, now another one I wanted to share with you is this one. Again, on the tech side, you have IBM being forced to pay $17 million to settle with the U.S. government for their DEI problems, the diversity, equity, inclusion problems. Here is IBM here. Done. All right, and if you're curious about, if anyone here is curious about IBM, right now 230 in pre-market, they're down. Yeah, the pre-market's the same right now, and 230, and right now their volume is at 5.87 million. Market cap is at 216 billion. Yeah. Now here's what I wanted to show you also. Where was it? Yeah, for example, if you're looking for some of the big movers, one of the big movers recently, for example, is we talked about Palantir. Palantir, I've had many questions about this one. Thank you guys for your questions about different stocks and what you're looking at. Here are some of the ones that I've compiled. I'm going through some of them. Palantir right now, again, this is a big mover. Down, actually, it's going down. If you look at this one right here, at the moment, the RSI is at 34. It's dropping, and right, let's see. Actually, okay, pre-market it's rebounding. It was at 128. Now it's rebounded to 130. You can see that, and then but right here, the last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Look at that, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It went from 154 down to 130. So, yeah. If you're looking at Palantir, that's for you. Also, a couple quick chart patterns. Here's your double bottom to boost that up. That's the chart pattern for going up. And then right over here, here's your chart pattern. Here's your head, left, right, bang. That drops it down. There's your head and shoulders to drop it down. And again, here we are. Let's see. Here's another one. Here's your double bottom. Wait. Get my crayon here. Here's your double bottom to boost it up. Again, many different chart patterns. If you want more of those, just ask, but that's just a few to get you going right there. Okay. And another one I'll show you right here is, for example, since we're into the tech side right now, one of the ones I was going to show you is hold on. Is Broadcom. Why are we looking at Broadcom? Because Broadcom is also rebounding at the moment, in case you're looking for on the tech side what's rebounding. So for example, this was just recently RSI at 33. Now it's at 70, basically getting to the oversold area. Investigations, I got your note, okay? Give me 1 second on that. And again, if you have, again, specific tickers and questions about analysis, again, just free to reach out and send me a message and I'll get some information back to you. Investigating vibes, thank you very much. And here, I'll give 1 second on that. Right here, here's Broadcom, as you can see, jumps up. It also reflects that in the MACD as well. Volume right now for Broadcom is at 29.9 million, and it's currently 371.55 pre-market. Though it's dropped down to 367. That's pre-market, okay? But recently, what was this on Monday, March 26th? It was at 292, and then it's rebounded back up to 371 right there. Now you asked me about investigating vibes. You asked me about COF right here. Here we go. Capital One Financial, since you asked, investigating vibes. Right now, done. Here's your update. It was 193, and now pre-market, it's down to 190. Okay. Again, you can see right here, the RSI is correcting, and right now, again, the trade volume, if you're wondering about that, it's at 2.4 million. There's that. And also, for example, let me give you a couple little more. Here's one right here. Yeah, if you zoom this out, you'll see here, here's your, basically a diagonal. Here's your diagonal head and shoulders right here. Diagonal neckline, bang, that drops it down right there. All right. For those of you who reached out, sent me a message, I'll reply back to you very, very soon after this live stream. Thank you for your likes, your comments, and your follows and your shares. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and see you next time. Thank you.